This is Wednesday, right? Real Wednesday. Happy Thanksgiving to all you guys. We'll see you tomorrow, I'm sure. Well, coming back off the game this week, Monday night, we jumped right back into the division. It was a hard game. It didn't go the way we wanted it to at all, but we've already turned and we bounced already to get going. 49ers coming off a big win. They played likely their best game of the year and looked good, and they're pretty darn healthy right now. We know that we got to get ready and get right. Their media tried to get me to talk about their quarterback situation, which I had no clue and have no idea what that's all about. You know, who's going to play, who's going to start, and all that kind of stuff. There's nothing we can do about it. We're just going to go show up and see what happens. You know, we're preparing for Bethard right now, and we'll see what happens. Other than that, we're looking forward to getting back on track here. We got to get back and really disappointed that we didn't pull it off last week.
Why get rid of Dwight Freeney? Talk about that if you can.
We had to make roster stuff happen. We got some injuries and some things we have to deal with. It is a spot where we have some guys that have played that spot. We're a little bit deeper there, and so we hated to do it, but we had to do something. And that's where it happened.
How did you feel about what you were getting from Dwight over the first 4 games?
He did a nice job. Sure, he was productive. Particularly, first 2 weeks he really came out of the chutes and did a nice job.
What does David Moore bring to you right now, coming up from the practice squad?
He's done a great job, and he's a very versatile athlete. Much like we saw the ability that Mike Davis had to come off the practice squad and help us. Hopefully, we can find a way to do that with David, and we want to keep him on our team.
He's certainly helped on special teams. I mean, he's kind of got the build to maybe.
Say it again.
Special teams for David Moore. He was a guy you guys talked about and drafted him, kind of being a bigger physical guy.
Yeah, he is a strong receiver with excellent speed and all that. He did a nice job in preseason too. Coming off the Noe's game, Tyler's game with returns and all, he won't get a shot at returning the ball, and that is one of his strengths. But he's got a good future in that area.
Was there some concern that you were going to lose David to another team?
Yes.
You mentioned injury concern. Is there an injury at receiver that's a concern?
No, that was a different topic.
How's Shaquille Griffin coming along at this point?
He's having to work his way through this protocol thing, and he's still feeling a little bit. It's going to be hard for him to make it back.
How much did you weigh the intangibles of Freeney, what he brought to the locker room?
We weighed everything.
How much of a...
There's no question that you miss stuff because he's such a tremendous guy, and but we just had to do something. And this is where it came to, and there's cap concerns and all kinds of issues that we're dealing with right now.
What are your plans for Thomas Rawls on Sunday?
We'll wait and see.
The running game in general, you mentioned that Eddie was a little bit limited last week coming off the injury. Does he go back to getting significantly more reps? Is health still an issue for him?
Yeah, coming off the long weekend, we didn't have a great beat on how he would be for the week. He made it through the week okay, but he's seems to be totally healthy now, so we have the freedom to do it in any way that we want to. I didn't really answer your question, but I addressed it anyway. Sorry.
How's Mike Davis hit with his groin? Does he have a chance for you?
He's really anxious to try to get through it and get back. We don't know. It'll be all the way to game time. He did a nice job in his first game out. We're really pleased with the showing. It was kind of what we had hoped, that he would show a little bit of something, and he did. Run game and pass game. Unfortunately, this groin thing, I don't know where it's coming from, but Eddie suffered from it a couple weeks back. I don't think it's catchy, but it's certainly in the running back room, it's been a problem.
Who'll slide in at right guard?
We'll show you that one during the week, and you'll see it. I don't have to tell him everything,
Does Luke Jokel have a chance to get back this week?
Luke Jokel has a chance to get back. We're looking forward to him. He'll practice today. It's really the first time he'll be back on the practice field today.
The injuries on defense, there's a trickle-down effect that happens with special teams. But what else does it impact with defensive schemes when you've got to bring different personnel groups in, especially in the secondary?
Yeah, well, it does impact us. I thought we had one of our really sharp special teams games, particularly in the returns and coverage areas, and we had already dealt with the losses. So that's a really good showing, and some young guys came through in a big way, and happy to see that. It can take a toll. It depends on how things go and how fortunate you can be with the guys that step in, but we're dealing with it, and we have to go to our alternatives in case guys can't play and can't show up and all that, which we're equipped to do that. We're fine, but not by first choice, but it's what we have to do sometimes.
So with a guy like Nico Thorpe, who's been such a special team standout, to see him at DB, having that experience last week, does that help this week if he's needed?
Yeah, but Nico has play time in his background. I mean, that's not a concern for me with him. He played enough and started games for the Raiders, and we've seen enough of Nico where it's not a big deal. It just depends on how much. If he has to play full boat, then that will affect the special team some, and that's where it can start to trickle down on you because he's an extraordinarily good guy in all areas of the kicking game. So we'll see what happens, but I'm planning on him being able to do what he's been doing in the past on teams.
Has Deshaun Shedd got to a point where he can practice with D just yet?
He's close now. He's really close. Matter of fact, I'll be watching his workout today. We've already touched base on it. He's trying to just get over this final kind of hurdle to make sure that he's equipped and well prepared to go. It's not yet, but it's getting close.
When you went back and looked at the game, had Byron Maxwell hold up?
He did fine. Yeah, Byron played well. He did a good job. Had a PI in there, but he did a good job. He looked like the guy we had hoped he would look like, and that's without a whole lot of preparation. He really kicked right back into the technique and the style of play, and he's a strong, well-suited guy. I'm fired up that he's with us, and I would think he should only get better and more comfortable with what we're doing, and have no problem with him playing.
Pete, do you need to look back on the Baldwin challenge and maybe like reevaluate your protocol for process for?
Well, that's a good question. The only thing we could have done is just not gone with it, and because we couldn't tell. And what we saw, we didn't see the look that the TV showed, that showed it from this other angle. And Doug thought for sure he caught the ball. Now, this is history. We've been through this. I probably have had 4 plays, maybe 5 plays with Doug over time that he has told me he caught. There's at least 3 of them that I did not challenge in the past, and I was wrong. He was right. And so I declared a while back, if he's really committed, he knows he's got it. I'm gonna look to. I'm gonna use everything that we have. I wouldn't go against our guys in the box. Our guys in the box couldn't see, they couldn't tell, and that's why that happened. And it really, I'm gonna trust him again. I'm not gonna not trust him. It just depends on the situation, and I got to feel it, and it's time on the clock. It's all those things, And so, unfortunately, it didn't work out. That happens sometimes,
Do the guys in the box not see the ESPN replay?
They didn't see the look that I saw when I watched the TV copy. I don't know what and I didn't get that communication from them, and so we've got a pretty groove system. We've been doing it for a long time. I don't have any problem with the process of it, but we didn't see that look in time for when the thing got thrown. So it's unfortunate, and the timeout would have made a difference for us at the end for sure. We could have used it. And that's really it's the head coach mistake, and there's nothing I can tell you about other than I went with the kind of criteria that I go with, and with the information I had, that's why I did it. I wouldn't have done it, gone against somebody saying that the ball's on the ground.
Since San Francisco and Tennessee games earlier this year, your guys' run defense has been really on it. What kind of goes into that? Just keeping teams in check on it.
Yeah, it's really the run defense is really about disciplined play. I mean, you got to have good players and all, but if you don't do right, then you can't be consistent. And you can have spurts where you're good and you can be effective and hit guys in the backfield at times with pressures and things like that. But to play really good run defense over a really long time, you have to be disciplined and you have to keep maintaining your gap control and relative spacing and all of the principles. And then if your players are good and they can make plays and defeat blocks, then you can be really good at it. But it starts with the discipline of the scheme. If you're jumping around scheme-wise, it's you're lucking out. So we've been committed for a long time to be really consistent there, and it's generally worked out. That's why it's so hard for us to stomach the thought that we give up 4 or 5 plays a game that are explosive run plays and whatever. We've just been really committed to it, and for the most part, it's worked out.
Jaron Reed have a chance to play this week? Or?
Yes, he does. He was close last week, but we didn't make it. We're in the same kind of mode right now with him. We'll figure it out, but there's a really good chance he will play.
Is
Dwayne Brown a little better off this week than he
He's
was?
better. He's ahead of where he was last week, so we're really counting on him to play. I thought that was a remarkable job by him. He wasn't able to practice during the week. He only got the final walkthrough, and then went out there and played really good football. And he's a terrific player, and he did a great job in the game under those circumstances. That's remarkable.
Anything new, Malik McDowell, anything new on him?
With Dwayne Brown, how has Ethan Posick been able to come along, having those games alongside him, whether Luke comes back this week or not?
Well, unfortunately, he had 1 week at prep, and then this week he didn't even get to work with them. During the week it was just happening on game day. They're in the meetings and all that kind of stuff, but you can't help but gain from a guy with that kind of background experience and understanding and confidence and all of that, and the savvy, So whomever is playing next to him is going to gain advantage. If Luke comes back to play, then we look pretty strong on that left side with experience and background, and this is kind of how we, I'd hoped we could see it here before the end of the season, and we have a chance to continue to get better.
Wade said after the game that he has not been around a team who shows this much resiliency in the fourth quarter, and called it remarkable. Does having a different voice in that locker room kind of saying that reinforce, it's the message you've been preaching the entire time?
Yeah, that never hurts, yeah, sure. And certainly, and particularly when you respect him as much as we respect him and his view. So, yeah, I didn't know that. It's good.
Anything new with Cam Chancellor's status?
No.
You guys are I think the first team in the Super Bowl era to have 5 consecutive games of 100 yards of penalties.
We're working on that.
Have you said anything different this week, given what happened?
Yes. The answer is yes.
What's been your kind of thought on how Jermaine Ifedi's played the last couple of weeks? It seems like there's been a couple of stretches where he's had some issues, but you just kind of general thought on how he's been?
Yeah, I think maybe not quite as sharp this week, but he continues to grow. He's learning his position. He's learning the expectations. He's learning what he can and can't do. He did a couple of really good things in decisions this week when Russ got out of the pocket and showed improvement from stuff we've been really stressing, and we made a point of it. Show the team because we can get better at stuff and we can improve. The penalties, the emphasis of the penalties went on the other side of the ball this week, and hopefully we can keep cleaning it up.
Pete, before Blair's field goal at the end of the game, you guys had your offense out there first and then pulled them back after the timeout. What did you guys see that led you to just say, let's go ahead and kick it now, as opposed to?
What really influenced me at that time, we could have taken one more shot to get a couple more yards, which we needed. Now that we look at it, it was within his range. We were under 35 right there, and 34-yard line, that was within range. He had a really good process during the timeout. I watched him warm up and saw him, got on the field and got all that kind of prep work. I thought it would be the cleanest way to give him the best shot, to have everything in order and all of that. And so that's why we did it. Normally and often, we'll go for another shot there, but I thought that was the best thing to do to help him, be settled and ready to make his best kick.
Do you have any concerns about him going forward at all?
No. He's our guy.
Back to Tyler, what has this season been like for him coming off that serious injury he had?
It's been a challenge for Tyler, and I just find him remarkably suited to handle this challenge. It's been hard the whole time. He really, physically, it's been a challenge for him. He's worked constantly on staying right and in the training room and the routines that he's done that didn't just come from the surgery, but came from his knee that got bothered during the summertime. And he's just made it through it. He's continued to be there on point, on game day, week after week after week. And finally, we were reaping the benefits of all of that hard work. The guys, the execution of the guys on that kickoff return team was beautifully handled in taking to game time. And he was able to take advantage of those, the consistency that those guys gave him. Really. Mark Lewinsky and Jordan Roos really had notable efforts in presenting the opportunities there. But it has, going back to Noe, it's been a challenge for him because he's been a kid that's always been healthy and always been full speed and spends more time on the practice field before and after practice than anybody. He's not been able to do all of that as much as he would like because he's been in rehab and he's been doing other things that he's had to do. I think this is. It's been a very challenging year for him. I think he's handled it remarkably well, and he's given us great play. He had a fantastic football game at receiver too last week, and he continues to be really consistent. So. And you guys noted about the Player of the Week thing, the special teams. Yeah, great recognition.
Just kind of the confidence of hitting it, not being hesitant, being a focus for him and Brian Schneider. How hard is that? Just the mentality, maybe coming off injury.
Man. Yeah, there aren't many people in the world that can do that. They will catch a ball back there around the goal line and take off and run as fast as they can, with people running as fast as they can, and knock his head off. He's just such a tough kid and a great competitor. Few people would ever choose to do that, and then do it with that kind of commitment and willingness and consistency. This was our best week of really seeing it and trusting it and hitting it and all that, and you saw the results. It really gave us a chance to control the game in the special teams.
You mentioned Roos. That was his first game, I think. How did that evolve that he ended up in that spot this week?
He's been working at the spot all year, and he's been on the active roster all year long, so he's been one of the backups that's been training back there at the wedge, and he just did a great job. He blocked their best guy, the guy who's been the most productive guy, and did a beautiful job of it.
Pete, besides injuries, what is keeping Rawls from getting on the field?
We have just been inconsistent, It just hasn't. We haven't found our consistency, and we've been trying. You've seen us. We've been experimenting to get the right guy on the field at the right time, and this week we just wanted to take a shot and see how Mike did, and Thomas was ready to go. He had a good week of practice and all that, and I'm expecting him to go out and play his buns off this week, but nobody's really found the consistency that we're looking for, and connected to how we've been blocking up front and all that. It just hasn't worked out the way we want. We're behind it right now, and we're still finding yards, and Russell's doing a fantastic job of finding his yards, but not exactly the way we anticipated and we want it to be. We'd like to get those guys more productive and more on point, and so we're just working at it. They're busting their tails to do it, and it's just been a combination of things that it really hasn't hit right. And for whatever reason, when Eddie got his start and his chance to really jump in there, and we wanted to really commit to him, he got his groin. And then Mike got a shot. We're going to take a look at him, see how he does. Got his groin. So it's just been more of that inconsistency, unfortunately. And so we keep battling. CJ was there, and then he wasn't. It's just been a hard couple of years to find the continuity that we need. And so we're working at it, and we're challenged, and we're trying to figure it out. And I still think it's going to happen. I still think that we're going to bust out. And fortunately, we're able to move the football on the ground. Russ has really added to it. Russ has always been a big factor in the running game for us. I don't know that we always credited him until we didn't have him last year. And so he's on fire right now running the football. And so we're going to try to add all that up and see if we can't put together a really good game here in the next couple of weeks.
You almost get a little nervous counting on Russell to be such
No, I really don't. No, I don't. Not in the running game, because Russell doesn't let him hit him. He doesn't let you hit him, and he's great at it. When he had to take his shot to make the first down, you saw how flat he got, and how he got it done was an incredible effort to do that. I really trust him. He knows how to, when to, but anytime those guys are running, they're vulnerable, and more susceptible in and around the pocket than he is almost when running, because he's in control of it. You saw him make impeccable choices to get down, and he knows what he's doing.
The first 49ers game, Russell did his thing in the last drive to get the touchdown, the only touchdown of the game. Is the same issue that in week 2 still here with, as far as trying to get more out of the same production out of the same people? Is it improved at all?
Yeah, that was a game in itself. We've had all kinds of games, there's been a bunch of them. So it isn't the same as it was, is the way I'm going to answer your question. It isn't the same as it was.
Is Russell the best open field running quarterback you've ever seen?
I'd like to give him that. Bobby Douglas was pretty good. There was a few guys like Michael Vick when he was really on fire. Russ has he's is productive and is consistent and is on point to utilize the opportunities as well as anybody that's ever played, and he's great at it. Tebow might want to claim that himself too, in his short stint he had. But Russ he's a dynamic, extraordinary football player that maxes out those opportunities consistently, and we're lucky to have him.
Michael Wilhoit back for you this week.
I don't know that yet. We're going to try him during the week. We'll see how it goes.
What ate at you the most about Monday?
That I didn't help us more. Yeah, I had a couple chances there, and I wish I would have helped us more effectively than I did. Timeout, we didn't. The fake didn't go. I love the chance, but we didn't execute, and so that weighs in on the game. So I hold myself highly accountable, and I take it very seriously that I help us, and I wish I would have helped us more.
As prideful as Thomas Rawls is, what are your considerations when you make him healthy and active, and then you ask him to start the next, or potentially start?
He is such a terrific competitor. He didn't take it well, and I don't expect him to. I want him to want to be out there in the worst way, and he wants to go right now and wants to play right now. And he's a team guy. He's a consummate team guy, and I'm hoping that he'll be a big factor in this game this week.
How important for guys who are still playing how important is it for them to not let injuries be an excuse? I mean, you guys are missing some important guys, but to not dwell on that and look at who and think about who isn't there.
Yeah, it's really important that that doesn't alter our focus. That's really what we're talking about. Does it allow us to think something else, or give us a way out, or whatever, to not accept the challenges that are there? And so it's about mental toughness. It's about being disciplined about your thoughts, and it's about good messaging from the coaches and myself, and good messaging from the leaders too. Yeah, it's an issue. It could be. I think our guys are really good at it, and they've been preparing for it, and we're all right.
Anything else?